The year is 2024. The world watches as Russia and Ukraine grapple with a brutal war. This is not a conflict born overnight. It is a tragedy fueled by decades of tension, rooted in history and identity. This war has reshaped borders and shattered lives. It has divided families and tested the very fabric of international relations. Yet even amidst the rubble, there is a flicker of hope. The desire for peace, however distant it may seem, still burns bright. We will delve into the historical context, understand the immediate triggers, and analyze the far-reaching consequences of this conflict. We will listen to the voices of those directly impacted by the war. The conflict between Russia and Ukraine is not just about territory. It is about history, identity, and the right to self-determination. To understand the current conflict, we must journey back in time. The bond between Russia and Ukraine is centuries old, intertwined and often fraught. For centuries, Ukraine, with its fertile lands and strategic location, was a crossroads of empires. The fall of the Tsarist regime in 1917 offered a brief glimpse of Ukrainian independence. However, this was short-lived as Ukraine was absorbed into the Soviet Union, becoming a Soviet republic. The Soviet period further entwined the fates of Russia and Ukraine. While Ukrainian culture and language were suppressed, there were also attempts at integration and modernization. Millions of Russians and Ukrainians moved freely between the republics, forming close personal and economic ties. The Holodomor, a man-made famine engineered by Stalin's regime in the 1930s, remains a particularly dark chapter. Understanding this shared, often painful history is crucial to grasping the current political realities and the deep-seated mistrust that fuels the conflict. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 marked a turning point. Ukraine, along with other former Soviet republics, declared independence. This was a moment of hope and uncertainty. The promise of democracy and self-determination hung in the air. However, the transition was not smooth. Economic hardship and political instability plagued the newly independent nations. In 2014, Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula, a Ukrainian territory with a majority Russian population. This event sent shockwaves through the international community and marked a significant escalation in tensions. It also emboldened separatist movements in eastern Ukraine, plunging the region into conflict. The annexation of Crimea was a violation of international law and a clear demonstration of Russia's willingness to use military force to achieve its geopolitical goals. The conflict, characterized by brutal fighting and widespread human suffering, became a proxy war, with Russia and the West backing opposing sides. The war in Ukraine is as much about political control as it is about territory. For Russia, Ukraine represents more than just a neighboring country. It is seen as a crucial buffer zone, a bulwark against what it perceives as NATO's eastward expansion. The Kremlin views Ukraine's aspirations for closer ties with the West as a direct threat to its own security and sphere of influence. In Russia, the war has been used to consolidate power, stifle dissent, and promote a narrative of national unity against external enemies. Independent media has been muzzled, and opposition figures have been silenced, imprisoned, or forced into exile. In Ukraine, the war has galvanized a sense of national unity and determination to resist Russian aggression. Citizens from all walks of life have taken up arms to defend their country. The conflict has highlighted the stark contrast between the two countries' political trajectories, one drifting towards authoritarianism, the other fighting for democracy and self-determination. Section 5. The crushing cost of war, a human tragedy. Beyond the political maneuvering and geopolitical calculations lies the devastating human cost of war. Thousands of innocent civilians have been killed, caught in the crossfire of a conflict they did not choose. Cities lie in ruins, their once vibrant streets reduced to rubble. Millions have been displaced from their homes, seeking refuge in neighboring countries or within Ukraine itself. The war's impact on mental health is immeasurable. The trauma of living through constant bombardment, Losing loved ones and witnessing the destruction of one's homeland will have long-lasting effects. Women, children, and the elderly are disproportionately affected by the conflict, facing increased risks of violence, displacement, and poverty. The global food supply has been disrupted as Ukraine, a major grain exporter, struggles to maintain agricultural production. Energy prices have skyrocketed, fueling inflation and economic hardship worldwide. The conflict serves as a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our world and the far-reaching consequences of armed conflict. Section 6. A world divided, global ripples of war. The war in Ukraine has sent shockwaves through the international system. It has exposed the fault lines in global governance and tested the limits of international cooperation. The conflict has also exacerbated existing geopolitical tensions, pushing the world closer to a new Cold War. Western nations have imposed unprecedented sanctions on Russia, targeting its economy and isolating it from the global financial system. The conflict has also led to a significant increase in military spending by NATO members as they seek to bolster their defences in Eastern Europe. The UN Security Council, paralysed by Russia's veto power, has been unable to take decisive action to end the war. The conflict has also exposed the hypocrisy and double standards that often plague international relations. Section 7. Seeds of Peace, a Fragile Hope. Despite the bleakness of the current situation, there are glimmers of hope. The resilience of the Ukrainian people, their unwavering determination to defend their freedom, is a testament to the enduring human spirit. The international community's condemnation of Russia's aggression and its support for Ukraine, while imperfect, offers a glimmer of hope that the rules-based international order can still prevail. There have been tentative attempts at diplomacy, with sporadic ceasefires and negotiations taking place. While these efforts have yet to yield any significant breakthroughs, they offer a glimmer of hope that a negotiated settlement may still be possible. The international community has a crucial role to play in supporting Ukraine's reconstruction and providing humanitarian assistance. Equally important is the need for accountability for war crimes and human rights abuses. Section 8. Voices from the Rubble. Tales of Resilience. Amidst the devastation and despair, it is the stories of ordinary people that offer the most powerful testament to the indomitable human spirit. We meet Anya, a young musician from Kharkiv, whose world was turned upside down when her city came under bombardment. Forced to flee her home, she found solace in music, using her talent to raise funds for displaced Ukrainians and to keep their spirits high. Then there's Dmitry, a doctor from Mariupol, who worked tirelessly in a makeshift hospital under constant shelling, treating the wounded with dwindling supplies and unwavering dedication. He witnessed unimaginable suffering, but also witnessed extraordinary acts of courage and compassion. These stories personalize the conflict, putting a human face on the statistics and reminding us of the true cost of war. They are a testament to the strength of the human spirit and the power of hope in the face of adversity. Section 9. The Long Road to Healing. Scars of War, Bonds of Peace. The scars of war run deep. Even if the guns fall silent tomorrow, the journey towards lasting peace will be a long and arduous one. Rebuilding trust between communities torn apart by conflict, healing the psychological wounds of war, and achieving genuine reconciliation will be a generational task. It will require a fundamental shift in mindsets, from a culture of conflict to a culture of peace. Education plays a crucial role in this process. Teaching future generations about the horrors of war, promoting empathy and understanding, and fostering a shared vision for a peaceful future will be essential. Ultimately, however, lasting peace must come from within. Paths to peace. Predicting the future is a fool's errand, especially in a conflict as complex as this one. One possible scenario is a negotiated settlement with concessions and a ceasefire. Another scenario is a protracted conflict with no decisive victory. Peace requires long-term commitment to dialogue, reconciliation, and rebuilding trust.